and welcome to Questions That Need Answers. I am your host, MarQuisia, and you are tuned in to the Fit and Fabulous Health and Wellness Podcast. In this podcast, we will have experts in the field of health and beauty to answer all of your burning questions. And today, I'm very excited to introduce our very first guest. Our first guest is Dr. Karleena Tuggle-McDaniel. Dr. Karleena is a health expert and enthusiast, body positivity and self-love advocate, and a bariatric, which is a weight loss surgeon. She has a passion to empower the Black community through health, awareness, and education. Also joining us is Brittany Payton. She's a registered dietitian, nutritionist, a fitness expert, a speaker, and a fellow podcaster. Welcome to Questions That Need Answers. We are partnering with Problk Health through Women of Pearl's Community Action Foundation. All you have to do is use our promo code, which is Fit and Fabulous 2024. FITANDFABULOUS 2024. And our website for the Problk vitamins is www.problkhealth.com. So before we get into the questions, tell us a little bit about yourself. Dr. Karleena, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me tonight. I think this is wonderful that you're doing. I'm all about empowering us as a community, as women, as people of color. So I love taking part in these conversations. But as you mentioned, I'm a weight loss surgeon. I've been practicing this will be my 14th year out of training. I was born and raised in New York. I went to Howard for med school and residency. I settled out in Atlanta. So I've been working in predominantly Black communities my whole life. And we started Problk Health because I see through the emergency room, sometimes through my office, that we're young in age but old in disease. So many people who look like me, my friends, my parents, who are suffering from advanced diabetes, advanced cancer, strokes, heart disease. And a lot of these things can be avoided or controlled or pushed back by changing our eating habits, by being more active. But the purpose of Problk Health is literally the promotion of health in the Black community. So this is a mission. It's about increasing health awareness in our community, because I've lost count of how many times patients come in with their nails and their hair done and are crying about a $2 copay, or don't take their medicine because, oh, it costs too much, but you have new shoes on. So I really want to increase the dialogue about what is important, what should we value. Health is wealth, not all this other stuff that is superficial and makes you feel good in the now. There's a lot of cute people in caskets. So how do we continue our health and livelihood individually and as a community? Up to 50% of our net profits go towards health initiatives that focus on eradicating healthcare disparities in the Black community. So we made it helping yourself with your purchase and support is also helping the community at large. And the stronger we are as individuals, the stronger we are as in a community to advance ourselves and not have to wait for the handouts. So that's really a passion of mine, and Darian, my husband. So we're just super excited to continue to grow this movement and to have these conversations.
Thank you so much. And Brittany, what about yourself?
Well, my name is Brittany Payton. I'm a registered dietitian. I have been a dietitian or in the nutrition field for over 20 years, and fitness even longer than that. And I do what I do because I love it. One big thing that I learned early on is that as you know, when was the last time you saw a Black dietitian? It's something that we don't see often or too much at all. And so it is so hard for someone to speak to us about our health, our nutrition, the food that we eat, and steer us from it without steering us into something that is uncomfortable. And so, or that's just, that doesn't honor who we are, what we like, and what we like to do, and what we like to have. And so it's so important to have a voice of someone that is a person of color. And I speak for women who are not just African American, but I've worked in the Latino populations and just all kinds of areas where people who are people of color are underserviced as it relates to nutrition. And so in doing this for such a long time, I love people, I love nutrition, I love food. All right. And so with all of that, I'm able to wrap that up in a nice bundle. And ultimately I've worked in healthcare for a long time. I've done doctor's offices, I've done private consulting, I've worked at clinics, I've done it all. And then now I'm working for myself because I've seen some things, some breakdowns in the healthcare system that I don't exactly love. And especially for us, for women of color or any kind of woman of color, and especially women, where we're not getting the service that we need. Nobody is talking to us after we get past childbearing age a lot of times. And so it's like, oh, okay, so now menopause is hitting and other things are happening, and we're accelerating in our careers, we're accelerating in our families, we're doing a lot of amazing things. But when it comes to our health, we're decelerating. We're learning less and less and less about ourselves, and our health and our bodies are breaking down, and no one is teaching us. And so the thing that we do every day is we're going to eat. We're going to move. And so if I can teach people how to move better and how to eat better, those are two things that you can just get right off the bat. And then we can go ahead from there and then make even more change and better change, changing your mindset. What you know and how you know what to do is everything. So I want to help people know the why behind the what, and then after that, drive it home and do the action.
Well, let's get right into it. I love this conversation so much because with the new year starting, new year, new me, new beginnings, we really need to know, how do I decide which supplements are the best for me? Which vitamins do I take? What time of day do I take them? Dr. Karleena, can you help us with that?
Sure. Like you said, I think I've always had a bittersweet relationship with that idea of new year, new me. And not because it's not a positive way to think, but to me, every day should be the first day of the rest of your life. We shouldn't wait until January 1st because we may die on December 31st, so you don't want to hold yourself to these nebulous concepts of when I'm ready or when it's time. Every morning that you wake up is a day to do it better than you did the day before. So I want us to not be tied to this new year thing, because if it doesn't work out in 2 weeks, is the rest of the year a bust for you? It shouldn't. It is okay to rebound, to adjust, to pivot, to make going forward better. So in terms of the best supplement is a supplement that you will take every day. It doesn't matter how good something is. If you don't like the taste, you don't like the smell, you don't like how it looks, you forget. If it is not something that you are going to do on a regular basis, it is not good for you. Now, in terms of what we provide, we purposely catered our vitamins to speak to us as a community, because two of the biggest reasons, I'll say, that people don't take their vitamins when I ask them is, I don't like how they taste, and I don't like taking medicine, or I don't like doing something every day. But usually it comes down to a taste or a medicine type feeling. So me and Darian, well, how do we kind of eliminate that barrier? So most of our vitamins are gummy based. Now everything is pros and cons. There is a little bit of sugar. That's just kind of what comes with it. But it's not nearly as much sugar as the sodas and the desserts and the pasta that people do, but try to make a big deal about 2 grams of sugar when your soda is 25. Um, but we had to make it taste good and smell good because I know how we think. It has to move us, it has to be pleasurable. We do have we have capsules, we have tablets. So you can get more in those formulations. So depending on what your goals are, you can get more nutrients in those. But if you're not going to take them because you have an aversion, it doesn't matter. And that's why most of our products are gummies, and what sells the most is gummies. Our vitamins are all made in FDA approved facilities. We have all the certifications. They're safe. So you can get everything from your basic foundational multivitamin and like our Queen Essentials to Living My Best Life, which is a capsule, it's a tablet that has probiotic and all your basic and different herb and fruit blends. But you have to be willing to take a decent sized vitamin tablet and deal with the smell. So you kind of have to take the pros and the cons. But again, no vitamin is good if you are not going to take it on a regular basis. So that is my kind of bottom line opinion on, you need to do something that you will stick to. And usually that's something that you find pleasurable.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Brittany, what foods can we eat that are rich in vitamins?
There's so many different kinds of foods. I love the fact that Dr. Karleena was talking about the supplements, because if you think about why supplements are so important, supplements are there to bridge the gap. They're there to make sure that whatever you don't get in your food, you're getting from the supplement and you're filling the tank. You know how when you go get an oil change and you get all the fluids topped off? And so when you get everything topped off, you're good. Okay. We know we can roll for a few more miles and we're going to be good. Our car is going to function properly. Same thing happens with our body. And so the thing is, you want to think, okay, I want a variety of foods. Here's one big thing that I see often is a lot of times people don't realize a lot of our foods are so rich in vitamins and minerals that we're not eating, like fruits and vegetables. Those are food groups that are majorly missed in what we call the SAD diet, the standard American diet. So the standard American diet is full of high fat, processed meats and carbs and different things like that, that everything has been either what I call Franken food. Okay. It's been made in a lab, all right, for you to eat and for you to enjoy. And it tastes good, but it has no nutritive value. And so you want to go back to thinking, okay, where can I get food that is real food that's going to give me real vitamins and minerals and is going to feed the needs that my body has. And I love the way God has kind of created food, because ultimately all food come in their own little packages, their little vitamin packages, if you will. And they're all the vitamins that you need out of that one thing. And they don't, cancel each other out. They're not beating each other up, but they're all working in there together. And so the goal is to layer those things so you can get more and more vitamins and minerals. And so layer the flavor, layer the vitamins and minerals by layering the different kinds of healthy foods that you can get. So adding more fruits, more vegetables, and even whole grains, real whole grains, okay, not that processed stuff. And then even a lot of your good, healthy, lean meats and things of that nature. If you're a meat eater, okay, you can get that in as well. Or if you're not a meat eater, you can get it from so many other different places. A lot of times we've heard these certain messages that say, hey, you can only get it from here, like vitamin D is best from milk and vitamin D and calcium is best from milk. No, it's really not. Like, one of the best places you're going to get vitamin D is walking out your front door, letting that sun get on your skin. That D3 is going to come from there. That D2 is going to come from the foods that you're going to eat, and it's going to be converted over. But you got to know those things. So it's that knowledge that you're going to get from having different, and knowledge you're going to get, and then having that different food, all right, and different varieties of food, that's really going to make the difference. So the best way to do it is a balanced diet of real food. Did that answer your question?
I mean, this is a good conversation. I'm sure that our audience is loving this, but I just need to know, Dr. Karleena, back to you. Is there such thing as taking too many vitamins or too little vitamins?
So just like Brittany said, supplements with vitamins and minerals is to bridge that gap. So in an ideal world, we would be getting everything from our food sources, from the sun, what have you. But in 2024, as I'm sure Brittany can tell you, even if you were to be a strict vegetarian, the food coming out of the ground doesn't have the same nutrients as it did 50, 60 years ago. The sun is great, but our melanin can block a lot of the sun. So that puts us at a disadvantage. And a lot of us have indoor jobs and indoor lives and don't get that exposure. So can you not get enough? 92% of African Americans are vitamin deficient. That's just a fact. So it's easy to not get enough. It's difficult to get too much, but you have to be cautious nonetheless, because there are certain minerals and vitamins that could be toxic, but that's very hard to do. Most vitamins, especially your water soluble vitamins, which are your B vitamins, you will urinate them out. So your body will, you can eat them, but once you kind of get topped off for the day, anything that your body cannot absorb, you will eliminate in your urine. Then you have your fat soluble vitamins like D, E, A, and K. Your body stores them in the liver and your fat cells. So it is possible to overdose on those, but that means you're taking super high doses every day, and you're going to start to feel pretty bad before all of a sudden it's a problem. So usually it's not something that just creeps up on you, but you would have to be doing something so irregular that is not something that I haven't seen it, and I very rarely hear about it, in the average population. So it's way more common to be undernourished with your vitamins and minerals than it is to overdo it.
All right. Now, this question is for my women who are trying to get pregnant or already pregnant. Which vitamins and minerals should pregnant women take, and which ones should they avoid? That's for either of you.
Well, with working with pregnant women, a multivitamin, a prenatal multivitamin is always amazing. Okay. And then you want to make sure it has the DHA and the EPA in there. And then you also want to make sure you're having that folic acid in there as well. And those are common things that would be recommended. And then as you're getting your blood tested, because you are pregnant, you're getting your blood tested regularly. If they see any deficiencies, you want to make sure those things are handled or managed. So if you're iron deficient, you have some kind of some sort of anemia, because there's many different kinds of anemia, you want to get that managed. If you're vitamin D deficient, which Dr. Karleena just told us about, like that is something you want to get managed. All these things, because the thing is, all the vitamins come from your body and your food, but then it goes to the baby. The baby is the priority in pregnancy. So your body is taking all that, giving it to the baby, and you're left with what's left. And a lot of times that's nothing if you're not eating the right kinds of food or you're not supplementing properly. And I imagine Dr. Karleena could totally add to that as well.
No, I mean, you hit everything right on the head with that. I would say that in supplements to avoid, there aren't very many in your standard multivitamin. I would say that a lot of the herbal compilations and formulas, like St. John's wort, I mean, you can go on and on and on about every herb that you can put into a tablet of some sort. I'm not an obstetrician or a gynecologist, so I can't tell you all the things, but a lot of those you probably should get double checked with your OB just to make sure they are safe. Because there's some medications that are contraindicated around surgery because they can thin your blood. Similar things, I would imagine that when you're carrying a child, you want to make sure that there are no contraindications. So I would say always ask about these herbal supplements, but your basic, your prenatal, your basic multivitamin are very safe.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Now, is there any difference in the effects when you're taking vitamins in different forms? So, like for example, a pill versus a drink. Is there any difference in that?
So that you can find as many research studies that say that there is a difference to those that say that there is not. I find that oftentimes people get an upset stomach after taking vitamins, and for those people, it's because they're usually taking it on an empty stomach. So sometimes eating food before will help with that, especially when we're talking about your fat soluble vitamins, because they work better when you have some fat with them in your stomach to help your cells absorb them. But again, back to my original statement, liquid versus powder versus capsule versus gummy versus tablet, which one are you going to do consistently? There's levels to everything, and you could put 10 people in front of you and you can give them all the same formulation, and their own individual bodies could absorb them differently. So the best way to know what's working for you is to start your regimen and then get your labs checked on a at least yearly basis. Because if you're doing something and your labs aren't budging, that's not working for you. And you got to figure out and try something else that your body will respond to.
Can I tag on to that as well?
Absolutely.
So with that, like, everything she said was amazing. And then you also want to think, are you having absorption issues? Sometimes there's absorption issues that happen naturally, or not even naturally, or as a result of chronic stress, as a result of maybe having a previous surgery, or different things like that. You'll find that those will be blockades. Those will be barriers that keep you from absorbing the vitamins and minerals like you need. And that's why it's so very important to figure out what's best for you. It's no one size fits all. It's no, hey, just do this, you'll be good. But you have to figure out what's best for your body, because everybody's body is different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been good information. I do have a vitamins quiz that I'd like to share with you. Would you like to take a quiz with me?
Sure.
Oh, no.
It'll be fun.
I love
It'll be
it.
fun. It'll be
Of
fun.
course, of course.
How much do you know about vitamins? How much do you know about vitamins? All right. So let's start with question number 1. The time of day, season, where you live, your skin color, and how often you use sunscreen can all affect the amount of which vitamin your skin is able to make.
Ding, ding, ding. I think we know. I think we know.
What's the answer?
So I would say vitamin D. So the letter or the answer is C. That's what I would say.
Do you
I
agree?
concur. I
The
concur.
answer is C, vitamin D. Yay!
We're winning.
All right, 1 for 1. Okay, question number 2. At one time, the disease rickets had all but disappeared from the U.S. Now, rickets is making a comeback. Which infants are most likely to get rickets? Is it Black babies who are breastfed, white babies who are breastfed, Hispanic babies who are breastfed, or any baby who is fed formula?
I don't know for sure because I don't deal with babies very often, if ever. But I'm going to say D, any baby who's fed formula, because I think that Black, white, and Hispanic breast milk should all be similarly the same in terms of nutrition. So I'm going to say D.
I would agree. I go with you in on this. Let's do that. Good answer. Good answer. Like on Family
Bucks,
Feud.
no whammies.
The answer is A. Baby. Let me tell you, rickets is seen more often in Black babies who have been breastfed because they do not have enough vitamin D.
It's probably because the mother didn't have enough vitamin D, so she was deficient, and so it's nothing to pull from.
All right.
Just talked about this.
Absolutely. So the answer was Black babies who are breastfed. All right, we're moving on. We're moving on. Eating the liver of which animal can cause short-term vitamin A poisoning? Vitamin A poisoning. Is it A, a mule deer, B, a buffalo, C, a polar bear, or D, an ostrich?
Can we call a friend? I don't eat
Right?
none of those.
Let me tell you, I'm thinking it's the one that's the biggest one because, liver is going to have a lot of vitamin A, but I imagine it's the biggest one. And if you're eating a whole liver of this animal, that's what I would go with. But which is the biggest animal?
But what's a
The
mule
buffalo.
deer?
Right? How's that different from a reindeer or any other kind of deer?
Well, the answer, because I didn't know this either, is C, a polar bear.
Polar bear.
Okay.
Right. It's an important source of protein in Canada and Alaska, but polar bear liver has a lot of vitamin A. That's what it says. Yeah.
I would imagine too.
Who's eating all this polar bear liver?
Right?
In some countries they do. Exotic foods. Now we all can get this one. We can all get this one.
Yes.
All right, let's do
Healthy
it.
pregnancy and baby. We just talked about that. Which nutrient can cause birth defects if the mother gets too little of it before and early in pregnancy?
Ding, ding, ding. We know it. It's D.
It is D. Yeah. It is D. All right. Question number 5. Which is the leading cause of blindness in children worldwide? Is it A, glaucoma, B, river blindness, C, vitamin A deficiency, D, accidental eye injuries, or E, cataracts?
Taking a guess here.
I'm going to say C.
You're going to say
I would
C.
Agree.
And
would
C
agree and say C.
Correct.
We're guessing.
C is correct.
Yay.
Vitamin A. Deficiency of vitamin A can cause a serious eye problem called xerophthalmia. I hope I'm saying that right. A lack of vitamin A early in a child's life can cause xerosis. This is a condition in which the membranes that cover the cornea and the other parts of the eye become dry. Right. Number 6. The highest levels of vitamin C are found in which food? Brittany, I know you know the answer to this. A, orange juice. B, grapefruit juice. C, parsley. D, broccoli. Or E, black currants.
Should I answer?
Yes, because I can tell you that they have it. I can't tell you which one has the most.
Right. So I would say orange.
Yes,
right.
But it's a trick question. Gotta be.
Right. I would say orange juice and grapefruit juice. I wouldn't say that's it because most juices are fortified with vitamins. So it's not that. All right. The juice that we get is not the juice that comes from an orange or a grapefruit. All right. So I wouldn't say that. I would say broccoli, honestly.
I think I agree with that as well. It better not be parsley.
Surprisingly, it is black currants.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
No.
Black currants contain 4 times the vitamin C of citrus fruits. One cup has 200 milligrams compared with about 120 milligrams for a cup of orange juice. So we all know that, black currants, people make jams and jellies with that.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. And finally,
I would like to redeem myself with regular food. Broccoli is going to be the answer. Regular food that people every day eat, right?
And
I love it. Gotta have some fun.
This is the last question. In the U.S., who is most likely to develop scurvy, which is a vitamin C deficiency? Is it A, a pregnant person, B, a malnourished child, C, a person with the eating disorder anorexia nervosa, D, a person with alcohol use disorder, or E, a person who does not eat meat, fish, eggs, or dairy products, otherwise known as a vegan? Which one
I
develops
I
scurvy?
think I'm going to say D, a person with alcohol use disorder.
I would agree with definitely with D.
You are absolutely correct.
Thank goodness. I was like,
Right?
man, you tell me something else.
I was gonna say
I
we need
gotta
to
go
log
back to
on,
med
Dr.
school.
Karleena.
Alcoholics may be lacking in many nutrients. In many
Mm-hmm.
nutrients. Thank you. Thank you for taking that quiz. You know, that was very educational because, you know, what we think may not be. So I just want to thank both of you, Dr. Karleena and Brittany, for joining us tonight. This was very educational.
That's it.
Or
Oh, you want to talk some more? All right. I do have more questions. I'm getting the wrap up sign, but I do have more questions if you want to answer some.
Sure.
Okay. So I was talking to one of my girlfriends, and she has PCOS, and she said her doctor had prescribed all of these vitamins and minerals to take. However, she couldn't afford them on a monthly basis. So, what is her recourse as it relates to food?
That's a great question. So when you're looking at PCOS is a hormonal imbalance, and it's a kind of a funky imbalance in between hypertension, diabetes or pre-diabetes, high cholesterol. So we're seeing all those things kind of mixed in together, along with other things that's going on with your body, where you're growing hair in different places where you don't want to, you're gaining weight, you're depositing weight in your midsection and things like that, and holding on to that. And so there's a lot of things that are happening there. So the first thing I suggest is let's work on the hormonal issues with the food by getting a balanced diet in there. A lot of times we're eating things that's feeding the issue. So when you're eating a lot of food that's feeding the issue, you're eating a lot of that processed stuff. You're eating a lot of meats and different things like that that are full and pumped up full of hormones and things of that nature. You're using a lot, you have a lot of endocrine disruptors in your life, which are a lot of maybe you're cooking with nonstick pans, or you're using things like styrofoam and plastic to eat from and things of that nature. And that's all disrupting your endocrine function and your hormonal function. And so all of those things together is a recipe for disaster. And then don't add on top of that, boom, let's throw a little stress bomb in there. Okay. So we've got all those things that are happening. The biggest thing she needs to do is work on eating right, balancing her meals. I would say if she can work on having a half plate of veggies with lunch and with dinner every day, half plate of veggies and possibly fruit, but definitely veggies and lots of different colors, eating lots of different colors. Different colors denotes different vitamins and minerals, and that's so important. So you want to have a colorful plate. Has anybody seen like the holiday plates where most people are putting out now, and it's like, oh yeah, everything is brown. Everything is a brown or a shade of yellow or something like that. All right. And that's what we've grown accustomed to. And we're like, that looks good. And I'm like, no, that doesn't look good. When you know what your plate's supposed to look like, and you've got all these vibrant colors and things like that. And you've got, the purple from the beets and the red from the onions and the green from the deep green leafies and all these, the carrots and all these things that are happening together. That's beautiful. That's what you want to have more of. And so tell her to get a good balance of fruits, vegetables, like we've talked about. If she does nothing else, that's a great place to start. Lean protein, and then get those endocrine disruptors out of the way, and get her stress to calm down, and get on just a regular gentle movement plan. Maybe nothing crazy that's going to add extra stress, but just a gentle movement plan, meaning just some basic walking might be good for her. And getting started there, if she's not already exercising, that's a great place to get started.
Excellent, excellent. I'm going to have her make sure she watches this podcast. Now, let me get a little bit personal with my plight, Dr. Karleena. I'm premenopausal.
Okay.
And I have been gaining weight. I've been exercising more, and I changed my diet, but I'm still packing on the pounds. What can I do to help me lose the weight, get more fit?
So that is such a complicated question, because there are a million reasons why that could be happening to you at this stage in your life. Your environment changes. So I always tell my patients, you're never the same person twice. Who you are tomorrow, even on a cellular level, is not who you are today or who you were yesterday. So you constantly have to survey what your habits are, because they're going to have to change to accommodate the new you and your new every day. Our metabolisms change as we get older, and things that help with our metabolism, to try to keep it elevated, are when you do your exercise, make sure you do some muscle resistance training in there. A lot of times people only think about cardio, but you want to maintain as much muscle mass as possible, because the more muscle mass you maintain, the higher your metabolism, or the better your engine is revved up. So you're able to burn more calories even when you're not actively exercising. Um, a lot of people skip meals, and then they decide to eat once a day. Well, when your body does that, again, it's something that encourages a lower metabolism, because your body's like, well, we're not eating most of the time. So I know when I do get nutrition, I got to hold on to it for dear life. So sometimes changing your eating patterns, so you're eating smaller, well balanced, lean protein meals throughout the day, your body is not as compelled to hold on to it, because it knows that in another 4 to 6 hours, you're going to get more fuel. Um, I'd also look at your lab work. So as we get premenopausal, menopausal, our hormones change, and sometimes we might need estrogen or testosterone replacement therapy, depending on if we're really low. Your vitamin levels, that's what we talked about, should be checked. B12, vitamin D, calcium, iron can all make it difficult for our bodies to metabolize at the same rate as when we were younger. So really, seeing your PCP, a comprehensive physical and lab work at least once a year, and then making sure that you're constantly adapting to life's changes. I think a lot of people don't even realize how much their day to day is influenced by a change in their job or their schedule or what's going on in their home. You may not realize that, like I had a hysterectomy in September, and you know how, like, well, my phone tracks like my average activity, and I couldn't go to the gym for 2 months. And at the end of or early December, my phone was like, oh, you have moved on average way less in the last 2 months than you did the 4 months before that. So yeah, I had a reason, but people have a number of reasons why their activity changes. So constantly doing self-reflection, and sometimes getting, an outside opinion about what you're doing, because we often sugarcoat or don't really see all the things that we're doing because they're marketed to us as good things, or they're better than what we were doing. But it may not be good enough to take you to the next level or to keep at the target that you were working with. So you just want to constantly kind of evaluate what your current habits are and seeing where you can improve.
Thank you so much. And to add to that, Brittany,
That's awesome.
what foods could I eat to avoid the hot flashes and the brain fog and on and on and on that comes with menopause, all those symptoms? What can I eat to avoid that situation? Because I'm not there yet, but I'm on my way.
So let me tell you, like, it's so cool that you asked that, and thanks so much for being vulnerable, because there's so many people who don't talk about menopause. I talk to my clients often about menopause and the changes that happen with menopause, because most times mama, auntie, grandma, nobody's talked to them about it. So they don't know, oh, what this is supposed to look like. What is it supposed to feel like? How do I do this? And so you feel alone. And so one thing I would like to expand on what Dr. Karleena said, first off, with, you're not the same person every day. One thing I see is that people are trying to be the same person they were when they were 20. Now, so when you were 20, you were working out, you were going out, you were doing things, you were active, you were exercising, you were eating right, you were doing all the right things, or you could do just a little bit of something and your body would bounce right back. Lose the 5-10 pounds, everything's good. But a lot of times what happens is in that 20s, we're doing that. In the 30s, we start getting busy with career and family and organizations and different things like that. So our time gets, split and thinned out. And so we're not doing those things anymore. And then we hit our 40s and it's like, oh, shoot, my body's changing. I got a new body. But then you say, oh, I'm going to go back to the way I did things when I was in my 20s. And your body is like, hey, sis, you're not 20 anymore.
Right.
Okay, so those things don't work like they did. So the first thing is get out of your mind that you're going to do what you did before. This is a new time. You're going to have to learn your body now. So you and your body are going to have to develop a new relationship now where you understand who your body is, what your body can do, and then what it needs so you can give it what it needs. And so big things with that. A lot of times we hear diet culture. Diet culture is like, take everything out. So cut carbs, cut this, cut that. Try and be a vegan. Don't do that. Have this. Only drink this. Intermittent fast or only fast. And, it's like, wait a minute. And everything is take it away. The diet culture says take it all away. But the thing is, when you really think about it, your body is asking for something. So don't get in the habit of taking everything away. Get into the habit of listening to your body and asking your body, what do you need? And so with that, stop the restriction and start giving. Start giving your body what it needs as it relates to food. So fruits, vegetables, I'm always going to come back to that. Because that comes down to vitamins, minerals, over and over. It's a thing, So come back to that. Lean proteins, whole grains, real food, balanced meals. Also, one big thing that I think is so crazy important is what Dr. Karleena said was stop skipping. Stop waking up, get out of the bed in the morning, jump out of the bed, have a cup of coffee. You don't eat all day. It's 2:00. Oh my God, I want to have something to eat because now I'm starving. And so then you eat something, you eat some comfort food. And then what happens later on in the day is, oh shoot, I guess we got to eat dinner. And then you overeat at that time because you're at a deficit from what happened for the rest of the day. And then you want to carb binge or you want to binge at night because your body hasn't had what it needs. And so it's like, hey, you got any more food in there? I'd really like some more. Okay. And so we have to start giving our body what it needs. And we have to start stopping and asking, okay, are you hungry? Do you need something? What's going on? Is it time for me to eat? When was the last time I ate? And knowing that, okay, you might have a little hunger silence because you've been doing that for a while. And now it's time to start listening and honoring your body with some good, healthy, life-giving food. So it comes back to balance. It comes back to consistency. Regular patterns get you regular results. So you can't have irregular patterns and want regular results. It's just not going to work. Okay. And then you have to know that it can't just be the eating, but it's all the pieces. It's the eating. It's the hydration. It's the stress management. It's the sleep. Okay. All those things. But when it comes down to it too, you want to think, okay, these hot flashes, as I'm thinking about the hot flashes, all right, what does this look like? Am I eating a lot of carbs and snacky stuff at night? Am I having a nightcap with a little glass of wine? Are these things raising my blood sugar before I go to bed? And then I go to bed and then I'm having hot flashes because everything is a little off. So as we raise our blood sugar, especially as we go to bed and things are getting a little higher and higher, you're going to find that it's going to correlate tightly with the hot flashes. So you want to make sure you're getting that good balance in, and you want to make sure that you're having things that are healthy for you as you move through your evening and through your day, period. Because what happens at night is probably a reflection of what's going on throughout the day.
Wow, that was very helpful. That was very helpful to me. I'm I'm having a hard time ending this conversation, but we do have to bring it to an end. I want to give each of you last words before I wrap up. Starting with you, Brittany. Thank you so much. What would you have to say?
So when it comes to your health, vitamins, minerals, learn who you are now and honor who you are now. Get tested. Don't just start taking stuff. I'm pretty sure Dr. Karleena will vouch with me on that. Don't just go out there and just, okay, I'm going to go out because I saw this on the internet and I'm just going to get a bunch of this and just going to take that. Get what your body needs. Okay. Because when you get what your body needs, your body then responds. And as it responds and it responds well, then you'll get the optimal performance and you'll get that long life that you're looking for. So the biggest thing is listening to your body, give it what it needs. Remember that vitamins and minerals come from your food, and then your supplements are bridging the gap. So you want to make sure that you're not walking around with an insufficiency. You don't want insufficient funds in your account, and you don't want a deficiency in your account. Okay. So you want to make sure that you have enough to cover what's going on. So you want to make sure that you're eating the right things, a variety of things, and you're happy with what you're eating and you're enjoying it.
Thank you so much. Dr. Karleena?
I would say when it comes to your health, be hard on yourself, but don't be too hard on yourself. And I know that sounds contradictory, but being healthy does not happen by accident. People who have healthy lives do healthy habits that are purposeful, intentional, planned out, that they're consistent with. But at the same time, if you have a bad day, a bad week, do not give up on yourself. Do not say, what do they say? Do not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
Having a bad day does not mean you're going to have a bad life. And the best way to get back up and do it is to get back up and do it. You know, don't wallow in it. Don't consider yourself a failure. But you do have to be disciplined. You cannot expect to get results from work you do not do. And you have to start somewhere. So I want us to be mindful that you may have to think differently, do differently, plan differently, but it'll be worth it. And if you mess up, don't let yourself or anybody around you in your house, your friends, because they can be saboteurs too, don't have them get you off track to where you completely lose focus and get off the mission for a healthier you.
Well, thank you so much. This was very educational. Thank you for joining me tonight. I want to, one more time, we're partnering with Problk Health, ProBlackHealth.com, ProBlkHealth.com is the website for Dr. Karleena's product. The vitamins are there. We have a promo code, Fit and Fabulous 2024, FITANDFABULOUS 2024. Use the promo code. It benefits Women of Pearls Community Action Foundation. Thank you so much for joining me today. These are questions that need answers. I'm your host, MarQuisia. Have a good night.
Good night.